For years, scientists, community action groups, and more recently, journalists have been peeling back layers of harm humans can face when they are exposed to PFAS, or forever chemicals. Now, with more information on how these chemicals can harm us, it's important to know what they can do and where they can appear. Locally, a process could soon resume to incinerate PFAS, and it could have a negative effect on not just the Ohio Valley, but our neighbors in Pennsylvania. Heritage Thermal Services, previously known as Waste Technologies Industries, has been disposing hazardous and non-hazardous waste along St. George Street in East Liverpool since the 1980s. Public affairs specialist Raymond Wayne says their goal has remained consistent for almost 4 decades. Quote, "We are not the generators of waste or producer of chemicals, including PFAS, that ultimately require incineration. We accept hazardous and non-hazardous waste generated by customers nationwide, some of which may contain low levels of PFAS, and manage it for safe treatment and destruction in accordance with stringent permits issued and overseen by state and federal regulatory authorities." Professor Linda Weavers of The Ohio State University College of Engineering has been studying PFAS since 1998.
There are thousands of them that are registered chemicals for various regulatory uses. The biggest source that we're probably being exposed to that's getting into our bodies is probably from our food.
The incineration of PFAS has taken place a few times at HTS, but in 2022, the National Defense Authorization Act required the Department of Defense to pause the incineration process nationwide. The act requested a stoppage until the DoD implemented U.S. Environmental Protection Agency guidance. Fast forward to the second half of 2024, when several reports came out saying the DoD has developed improved and cleaner incineration techniques. At this time, Wayne says HTS hasn't been told about those plans, saying, quote, "The DoD has not consulted this facility specifically regarding cleaner incineration. Facilities like ours are required to meet the existing rigorous testing requirements before being permitted to operate. This includes performance tests during which we must demonstrate that the process destroys chemicals that are more difficult to destroy than PFAS." Weavers says the incineration process can be unpredictable, just like anything in life.
We can never completely eliminate risk from anything, but we want to minimize that, make that less. And so we need to understand where that risk is coming from to help us decide how to make it less.
In December 2024, Ohio's 6th Congressional District Representative Michael Rulli and Pennsylvania's 17th Congressional District Representative Chris DeLuzio sent a bipartisan letter to former Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin asking for an explanation of the cleaner incineration process. Both say they have also reached out to the Trump administration and Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth with the same requests.
I've actually toured the facility several times. The staff, the administration, and especially the workers of East Liverpool that live there are absolutely amazing, but we have some serious questions about the DoD. I mean, like they say, are they doing studies? Is there data available? None of that is available to us. We want to know any ramifications to health. We want to know if it's actually worse to incinerate it or if it's not to incinerate it. It seems like it's been really vague, unclear.
The Pentagon has said that they're supposedly doing a safer incineration process. Well, we want to know what that is. Where's the data to back that up? What's the evidence that our constituents in Pennsylvania and Ohio will be safe and that they aren't in danger? We need to know more before we can tell people that they should be comfortable with this.
Specifically, the letter asks 2 questions. What is the new process the DoD claims is cleaner? And what will you do to ensure these communities are kept safe and that nothing will leach into our soil, water, and air?
So the Department of Defense is saying that incineration technologies and our knowledge of how incineration of these PFAS compounds happens has grown. That's certainly true, and we know that higher temperatures are better for incineration. So the longer it's in the incinerator and the higher temperatures it undergoes, the better destruction that's going to happen. But when these compounds, they start out, they have a lot of kind of chemical structures, and we need to break all of those bonds down to make it non-toxic.
In other words, breaking down the PFAS rather than leaving them in their original form is a more certain solution for safety in the long run. Still, DeLuzio and Rulli want to know the extent of the risks associated with incineration.
Well, we don't know enough, and that's the reason for the letter that Congressman Rulli and I sent. We want to get answers from the Pentagon about what that process is, whether it'll be safe, whether we can assure our communities that it's safe, and if it's not, then we should push back and make sure they're doing everything they can to keep us safe.
We need the data to look deeper into this. You can't just say we're going to shut this down and we're not going to let Heritage do the only way that's known so far to get rid of these chemicals. So if they could release the data, I think that would go a long way.
I reached out to the U.S. Department of Defense and the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency to ask about the cleaner process. The EPA directed us to the DOD, and they responded saying, quote, "The department is in the process of updating its July 11th, 2023 PFAS destruction and disposal interim guidance and plans to publish it in the next few months. The department will provide advance notice should the DOD determine it will allow incineration of PFAS-containing materials at hazardous waste incinerators with permits issued by environmental regulators." Meanwhile, Wayne says no matter what the DOD directs them to do, they will keep the local public's safety in mind, adding, quote, "Protection of human health and the environment is at the heart of what we do, and there is no higher priority than being a good neighbor and a responsible corporate citizen. We have been operating with the same commitment for close to 40 years and have the same approach for all our facilities nationwide." If you would like to know more about HTS and its decades of operation, head to WTOV9.com for a look at their complete responses to several of my questions. Meanwhile, we will let you know when the DOD releases those updated guidelines and whether it addresses Congressman Rulli and Congressman DeLuzio's concerns.
Hi, I'm Jamie Baker. Thanks for watching. Here's another video for you to watch, and please be sure to subscribe to our channel.